Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 19th, 2023 Town Hall meeting. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, some announcements. A reminder that our weekly meetings are scheduled to take place at the John Paul Rodriguez Center for the next foreseeable future, and they're also available on Zoom as well. A message from our tax receiver: school taxes due by September 30th. However, since September 30th falls on a Saturday, you have until October 2nd to pay without incurring any penalty. Please feel to call the tax receiver's office if you have any questions. Some events happening around town this week include a free Parkinson's dance class every Tuesday from 1:30 to 2:30 at Bethany Arts Community. Ossining will be celebrating Car Free Day on September 22nd, 2023, in partnership with 511 New York Rideshare and Green Ossining and the Village of Ossining. Many local businesses will be offering discounts or giveaways to those who ride Car Free or Car Light in an electric vehicle. Please check our update or the village's update for all of the listings. Come celebrate National Public Lands Day, the invasive strike force, as they work to rid the Croton Dam area of invasives destroying our natural habitat this Saturday, September 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Croton Dam. Registration is now open for Green Ossining semi-annual community-wide tag sale. The fall tag sale is Saturday, October 7th, and registration closes Monday, September 25th. Star of Bethlehem Church will be hosting a youth mental health first aid course on Saturday, September 30th from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For registration information, and that disappeared. All right, reach out to Star of Bethlehem Church. The Ossining Recreation and Parks Department will be having the annual trunk or treat on October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. They are looking for more trunks. If you are interested in setting up a tent or a vehicle to give candy to the youth of our community, please email Bill Garrison at wgarrison@villageofossining.org if interested. Come enjoy a jazz picnic on Sunday, October 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. hosted by the Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy at Dale Cemetery. Sing Sing Kill Brewery invites you to a green drinks night with a visit from our New York State legislators, Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg and Pete Harcum, tomorrow, Wednesday, September 20th at 7:30 p.m. Sing Sing Kill Brewery will also host a 90s vinyl night this Saturday, September 23rd at 8 p.m. And mark your calendars for the Multilingual Job Fair, September 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Westchester County Center. Also, the Padres Hispanos Hispanic Festival has been rescheduled for this Sunday, this Sunday on Main Street by the post office. Okay, that's it for announcements. So, departmental report. Okay, I don't know if you're doing this or not. All right, we're going to have a department report by our assessor, Mike Foissier.
Yes, hello, good evening, folks. Thank you for the accommodation of being able to do this by Zoom. My wife had a open house with her third graders, their parents tonight, so I'll just stop my video here and I'll present a PowerPoint slide deck I put together. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, it's very loudly. Very loudly. I don't know.
Oops. Okay, you can turn me down a little. I won't be offended. Okay.
I'm trying.
Just click on it. And slide it.
Hello, can you speak now?
Absolutely. How about now? Okay.
Try again.
How about now, Martha? How does this sound?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to blow anybody away. All right. All right, so let's move right into it. All right, so I want to thank you in advance for your time over the next few minutes. I just want to take a couple of moments to report on the state of the assessor's office. I want to cover what the office has done since I last presented to you in June. Offer some data on the year-over-year change in assessed value now that the roll has been published as final. Discuss some of the outcome of the grievances that were filed in June and the next steps in small claims assessment review, as well as the process improvements we're trying to make in the office, and the state of the Ossining real estate market as we see it right now. Okay, so we've been busy. I think the last time I met with you folks, I discussed the process of producing a tentative assessment roll, and in many ways, producing that preliminary tentative roll is where the heavy lift occurs. But over the summer, there's still plenty to do, both procedurally and statutorily as an assessment office. So the office, we assist the Board of Assessment Review with processing grievances. There were 457 this year, mostly residential. That came in by June 20th, grievance day. The office intakes the forms, enters them, and provides master files and copies for board members so they can begin their review and analysis. After which we assist in clarifying any issues of fact, as well as sending the determination letters out. In fact, we just mailed those determination letters out last week to sort of line up and coincide with the final assessment roll. The office also works with our mapping vendor to effectuate lot splits and mergers. And we receive quite a few requests throughout the year to combine lots or subdivide lots. So we work with cartographers at our chosen vendor to illustrate those changes accurately on the digital tax map. For those who haven't seen the digital tax map, it's on the assessor's page. It's a great portal to access all kinds of information about properties. You'll see it on the right-hand side on the assessor's page. It's pretty good. The assessor's office also processes the New York State STAR removal, so the STAR exemption, which is really administered by the state, but we do have our part to play in it. And so over the summer, we'll go ahead and restore or remove individuals as we get referrals from the state of New York. We update bank codes to facilitate billing. We balance the physical inventory of changes, and we begin the process of producing legally required reports for both the county and the state of New York. We have some things that we have to provide them in a very specific way, so we get that done. And we're also reviewing sales that occurred throughout the year, just to make sure that when we do value for 2024, this next year, that we're using arm's length usable sales only in the mass appraisal model. And of course, right now we're ramping up the preparation for a small claims assessment review. The deputy assessor in my office, he spends a lot of time putting together backup sheets and comparable sales sheets to begin negotiating with homeowners and representatives. And finally, we just mailed our notice of final roll to the Journal News, and we published the roll on the website last Friday. Oh, that is not what we wanted to talk about, but we can get to that. All right, so I'm just going to back up. Pardon me for one moment. Okay, my apologies, folks. Here we go. Let's bring this up. All right, so it's not a secret to most of us that the inventory is down substantially, going from the peak of the market where we saw a record number of transfers occurring in 2020. You can see on the left-hand side, the number of sales has really diminished quite a lot. And in roughly the same time period, we've seen median sale price climb. And this is true not only town-wide, but when you look at the village level statistics, they kind of indicate the same as well. It's the reason why for this year, we had an 11% increase in value from 2022's roll to 2023. And we suspect because while there are some signs of slowing in the market, we expect that for the next roll, we're still going to see an increase. May not be in the same magnitude as what we saw on this latest roll, but it still very well may be well into the high single digits. We'll have to see once we perform all the analysis what the next roll is going to look like. But at least as of right now, it seems like we're going to be in an upward roll for next year. So you can sort of see in this this curve, this trend line, that the market is perhaps maybe slowing in growth rate, but even through July, sales were still pretty strong, as median sale prices are, they're selling over ask. We're seeing that there are fewer days on market, and prices that are 5 to 10% above ask in some cases. So we are paying very close attention to those trends, and we'll try to reflect them as best we can on next year's roll. Here's Briarcliff Manor. Far fewer sales. There can be more volatility when we do this analysis at the Briarcliff level. Sometimes there are breaks in months where we don't have too many arm's length sales. You can sort of see that on the right-hand side, but it's the same story, whether you look at the villages, town outside, or the town overall. Here's the village of Ossining again. Very similar to what I showed you before with the town-wide statistics. I don't want to go too deep into it. The village of Ossining remains probably the strongest of all the ways we've stratified sales. So we really haven't seen as much flattening as we did in other parts of the town. But again, we're paying close attention to the market. I did want to bring something up that, because we are in the season now of challenges. The grievances, they've already been adjudicated. The Board of Assessment Review issued 19 reductions. They denied the remainder. And many of those unsuccessful grievances will go to small claims assessment review. And so in the past, what you see here, and I don't know if you can see it very well, it's kind of a small snapshot, a screenshot of our system. But the deputy assessor has historically produced many of these types of comps sheets to prepare for negotiations with representatives and taxpayers, just to see where we are relative to what the taxpayer is asking for in a reduction. But this screen is really very limited. Doesn't include all the latest and updated inventory that we have or images that we have. And we were searching over the last couple of months for a better way to prepare for small claims. And so, and I have to give credit to the deputy assessor, Al Closey. He did a great job. He found a tool that allows us to prepare a much more professional, comparable market analysis. And so here are just a few of the screenshots of what we're able to do now using listings. We're able to take the subject information, the comp sales, and we're able to put it into a document that's just a little bit more comprehensive, includes all the inventory for, again, the property that's challenging and what we believe to be the best comparables for that property. You can see it lists all of the attributes that are important to value. We're able to produce a comp grid like this, but unlike in the previous screen where we saw just a listing of inventory, here we can make adjustments. You can see in those gray columns, we're able to either increase or decrease value based on the differences between the comparables and the subject property. That's not something we had the ability to do and display in our old system. So we're hoping that this makes, some bit of a change here. So I'm just going to stop with the presentation. And bear with me for just one moment, folks. Thank you. Okay. Let me stop sharing. All right. Turn the video back on. So in addition to introducing that type of new tool, we're also planning on acquiring an Esri license, which is the mapping software that allows us to do geospatial analysis. And if we can't, then we're going to be working more with Westchester County's GIS maps. I don't know if you've ever stumbled across their really great parcel viewer, but we recently had a meeting with the county folks, and they're offering their services to help us develop better spatial tools, ways of showing the public and yourselves what value is doing, how equity in the assessment roll, how that looks with the latest final roll. And so that's these are the types of things that we're doing. We're still engaging with our vendor, and we expect to have a full revaluation. By that, I mean a full data collection in 2025, but this is the last year. 24 will be the last year of this cycle. 2020, we did a full reappraisal. We'll spend the 4 years doing updates based on market analysis. And then in 2025, this time next year, I'll be talking about the plan we have in place for a full recollection of all the data, resketching the whole 9 yards. That is it.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody have any questions?
No, great job, Mike. Great
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's a town hall meeting, so the audience can have questions.
My microphone's not working.
Remember, it doesn't amplify.
You're not
Only
gonna
for
hear
Zoom,
yourself.
you're not gonna, it's not amplify your
Oh,
voice.
we're on Zoom.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, well, if you hear me, this is Jen Tawil. And I just want to say, without embarrassing you, I'm so glad we hired you.
Oh, thank you. My wife would agree. So I know I appreciate it. I really had just as a side note, a personal life, I had a great experience because the staff was wonderful and Fernando left the shop in a really good state. So can't take all the credit for any successes we're having right at this very moment. A lot of it is thanks to the good folks that I'm working with. So thank you.
All right. Next, Andy. And Paul.
Do you want me to start?
That's the way she has it written. Superintendent of Water and Sewer, Andy T. And then Town and Village Engineer, Paul Froh.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize for the restroom situation. We had to break open the concrete floor on the restroom on the first floor there. So if you need to use the restrooms, you have to go to the second floor. So that was a project that happened today. I want to go over some projects that we just recently completed and what we're kind of working on. The most recent project for the town was the kitchen at the community center, which was completed. Very proud of that job. That was done in the last month and a half, and that was by our maintenance department. And then a big help from the town supervisor's office for supporting us and giving us the support that we needed to move forward. And that's completed. And then you might notice at Village Hall, some projects that are going on, Town Hall, the elevator project's completed. That was a year in the works. That was a pretty big deal. So for the third floor, it's that affects you guys the most. So I'm glad that's completed. And then what affects you directly is the Village Hall / Town Hall conference room. We're in the midst of rehabilitating, renovating the whole entire room. We're looking to get that room online by November 1st-ish. Carpet should be going in a couple of weeks. We just finished all new lighting there. So painting and putting moldings up that were needed. And there's going to be new ceiling and new sound system. So that's taken a lot of our time. So some future projects, the third floor town hall offices were scheduled for February. That is going to be new carpets up there and painting. So we're moving forward with that. Outside the town, well, actually in the town, the new filtration plant that we plan on bidding, but it's a village-owned lot in the town. On October 10th, we have a bid opening for the filtration plant. So that's very important for both parties, both the town and the village. We've been putting a lot of energy into that. I think we're going to have a lot of interest. And we were supposed to open it up on the 19th of this month, but we gave the contractors a couple extra weeks because it's just so detailed and such a big project. We wanted to make sure it was comprehensive numbers that are being bid on it. So that's kind of what we're working on. And Pete, the highway superintendent, calls us as needed. And the last thing he called me on was the roof project at the town highway garage that Russ Watsky did most of the consulting and drawings. And wherever we're needed, we'll be there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Paul, do you have anything you want to talk about? I know you have projects also.
I do. Thank you. I'll first apologize in advance for not having a PowerPoint from that wonderful presentation that Mike put on. So maybe we should have went first, Martha.
I asked.
Too late.
Worries.
And my beard looks really white on Zoom right now. So there must be something wrong with my computer because it's really not like that.
I think it's your lighting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andy. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time I was in front of the board. Good evening, Supervisor and Town Board. The areas of Leewood and Tappan Terrace were paved with the Highway Superintendent and his department. That was a successful effort using it used your balance of the CHIPS money that was in the coffers, the town coffers. The CHIPS is the state grant reimbursement for paving operations that municipalities get through the state DOT. And those two roads were completed. And we also put in a purchase order request for next year and out years in the areas around Ganong Drive. I know that's next on the superintendent's list. So I think within the next few years, we'll be up in there paving that corridor on the hill off of Ganong. The only other paving that remains in the town is the paving that we're looking to undertake in the area of the Austin Boat and Canoe Club. Back last year when we made the FEMA application, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the storm, but we made a FEMA application for that aforementioned storm for reimbursements due to damage in the area of the Austin Boat and Canoe Club parking lot. And the supervisor was able to secure two different grants, one in the amount of $3,000 plus or minus dollars, and one in the amount of $47,000 plus or minus dollars. As an offset to the work that we proposed to do. The $3,000 was initially for our initial response, and the $47,000 was for what they would contribute to the work that we proposed to do down there to restore that area that was damaged during the storm. So we created a PO. The PO was in excess of $50,000. I think it was for $57,000, but we're going to do a complete scope down there. And I think when we're all said and done, not only is the area gonna drain more appropriately and efficiently, but I think the area itself is gonna be more pleasurable to drive on and walk around, because we're gonna get rid of all the ruts and the potholes and the uneven pavement that exists there now. We're also gonna touch up the boat ramp that's been compromised a little bit from the storm and the years of use. So that area is going to be nice when we're done. And that PO was approved by you all at your last legislative meeting, I believe. So thank you for that. The second project, also down on the waterfront, that we're still trying to scope. I was just talking about it with the supervisor today. It's not a large amount of money. It's for $30,000 to help the town identify some of the outfalls coming out into the beach area, particularly in the area of Engle Park, because we're really trying to screw down on the potential sources of contamination that have plagued that area over the years. And this grant for $30,000 will help us do that. I have a call into the state. What we're trying to do is keep the money in the project. So what the town is going to request is if we could take out some of that administrative burden in the beginning of a lot of these grants and keep the money in the actual project, then we might be able to get a lot more for that $30,000. So that's a work in progress, and I'll be reporting to the supervisor's office hopefully within the next few weeks on what the state's going to allow us to do with regard to that expenditure. Either way, it's going to be good information to have, and could also point out collateral issues with the storm system down there outside of contaminants that we would want to address, whether it be a town issue or a village issue. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, and I'll keep everybody posted as we proceed with that. We met just today, but it's something in a town project meeting, but something that the town highway superintendent and I have been discussing really for over the last couple of years. Are three main areas of concern that he has had during a lot of the more recent significant rain events that we've had over the past few years that exist in the town. So what we are going to do actually tomorrow with an engineering firm, the superintendent and I are going to go to those 3 areas. And those areas are the drainage basin area in Ryder Park, the North Street, I'm sorry, not North Street.
State.
Help me out. Where is Terra Rustica?
North State
North
Road.
State.
North State.
North State. Yes, thank you. My high school was on North Street way back when, so that sticks in my head. North State Road corridor behind the buildings in where it abuts Ryder and Meadowbrook. And then the third area is in the 134 corridor near Minkle Road and Redway, that drainage basin that comes down from Newcastle. Those 3 areas are always areas of concern during significant rain events. So we're gonna review those areas with an engineering firm tomorrow and maybe multiple times over the next couple of weeks and develop a proposal to do a study and then subsequent design for a biddable project in the future. So what we're anticipating is in the capital plan for 2024, we will do the study and engineering work. And if that gets done in 24, by the time we start discussing the capital project for 2025, we will present the cost of that construction in our request for 2025 budget money for capital construction in the town. Those are the main projects that I've been working on this year. If you have any questions, I'm available.
I will add that, while you're working on the engineering, once we get that engineering and, planning, we'll also be going for some of the infrastructure, stormwater and, resilience grants to see if we can't offset our 2025 budget when we go to work on that. So fingers crossed. I appreciate both you and Andy for the work that you do. You've been great, responsive. Anybody have any questions?
Ditto, same thing. We're happy to have Andy and Paul on our team.
Yeah, really glad we finally got the FEMA money to straighten out the circle. You know, maybe the next people going over to the concerts won't have to walk around the little potholes and ice or whatever.
I just want to say, you don't need a presentation to prove your value, guys.
You don't need a PowerPoint. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
If you're on Zoom and you'd like to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay,
I assume that would be us.
yep. Now
All
we
right,
have a
Bill Boyd.
presentation by the Austin Boat Canoe Club, Commodore Bill Boyd.
Not really big on it. We're not.
Yeah, but you fell for it.
Yes, I did. So I'm Bill Boyd. I'm here with some of my colleagues from the Austin Boat and Canoe Club, Tom Merrill, Donna Hannon, and Scott Tabor. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. This is actually my second time before the board. A couple of years ago, I was here with my son. He was doing his Eagle Scout. You guys let him do the information kiosk down in by the ramp. He'll have done a better job speaking to you than I will. But so we put together a little presentation on the Austin Boat and Canoe Club. For those of you that don't know, we're a member-run club. We do most everything ourselves. We celebrated our 100th year in 2008. And we try and do everything in-house. The bigger projects that we take on, we do with the town's concurrence. We usually put a list together of what we'd like to do. There were two projects we're gonna work on once we get our license squared away. We did the front and the north side of the siding. We would eventually like to do the back side, and some of the decking needs to be replaced. We can go to the next slide. So we're a volunteer club. We have about 100 members. The members are split up between working members who typically have boats, and associate members are members that like to come down and enjoy the river. And as I said, we have about 100 members. We do most of the maintenance ourselves. The only thing we didn't do recently, if you look at a nice picture, is the roof. We had the roof done a couple of years ago. And if you look at the facade, that must be an older picture because our facade looks substantially nicer than the picture is today. We run programs in conjunction with some of the other groups such as Riverkeeper. The Coast Guard, we have a Coast Guard flotilla that operates out of the club. As a matter of fact, they have a meeting tomorrow night if anybody would like to come down and join us. We run programs off season. We can go to the next slide. If that's okay, Martha. So we are an affordable access to the Hudson River. We're along with Westerly and Chatham. The cost to put a boat in Chatham and Westerly is a multiple of ours. Our members in your fee, in your monthly yearly dues, you get, if you have a boat, you can put it in the water. So it's a tremendous saving to an entry-level boater. Some of our boaters actually, we have a limit of 26 feet because bigger than that, the docks can't handle. Quite a few of our members start with boats there and they move up to bigger boats and move up to Westerly, but most of them still stay members. Like most of our members are Austin residents. We have a few outside of it. We advertise for boaters, so if you know anybody, we're happy to have them. What we were talking about is trying to get them marketing through the town to get included in some of your supervisors blast. We've advertised some of our events through it, but that's something we're gonna continue to do. We can go to the next slide. So as I said, we have about 100 members and it equates to about 2,000 volunteer hours a year. Some of the project we've done is we did the roof, we replaced some of the shingles. We just redid the upstairs meeting room, which is historically accurate as it was originally built. Matter of fact, we dedicated the room yesterday. We had our annual clam bake, and one of our long-term members passed away, Vinnie Stafford, who quite a few you guys know. And we dedicated the room to him, and his daughters were there. It was touching. Really. So we've updated our electrical system, landscaping, and our docks. We keep up to date. If we could go to the next slide. Anybody have any questions? Bob?
Just one, you mentioned the out-of-town residents. Is there a different membership due fee for them versus in-town residents?
No.
Same.
No. We really look at, we haven't raised our dues in years, and as a matter of fact, during the pandemic, we didn't raise any dues, but we actually are sitting down and trying to determine where we should end up next year, because as everything has gone up, our insurance went through the roof. We just rebid it, but we don't really charge any more in the town or not in the town. It's pretty reasonable anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One question I had about minimum age to join.
So the minimum age is 21 for a member, but there are quite a few members. My sons were that way. I'm sure you know Andy Pointer. We have junior memberships that if you're 18 and you have a family member, you can join that way.
Good. Thank you.
Sailing Club works out of the club. They have 2 boats. They promote public recreation, and we're big on environmental stewardship. We do what's known as SWEP of the water, where you do stormwater retention. We send the samples to the state. So, next slide. Coast Guard Auxiliary. We have a Coast Guard Auxiliary working out of the club. We had a safe boating class this spring that was well attended, and I was talking to them, as a matter of fact, yesterday. New York State has instituted a law in 2025. Every boater is required to have a safe boating class. So we're talking with them. They have now arranged to do it Zoom, so we had advertised the last class we had with the town. They said they could do a couple between now and the end of the year via Zoom, so we'll reach out. We'll see what the feedback that we get on interest, and then we will schedule class with the Coast Guard. So it'll be a lot easier because you can do it via Zoom. Yeah.
Is that gonna be annuals, the boating safety course? Is that an annual course that they have to take?
Now you take it once and that's it.
Good.
The next slide, please. We also use we also participate, Boat US has loan of life jackets. If people are down with the boat and they don't have enough life jackets, we'll lend them to the boaters at the ramp. Next slide, please. We also do talks, where we have the River Keeper, we have Scott Craven. We're actually now, I have a relationship with somebody down in the Hudson River Museum. They've agreed to send somebody up. I believe, what's Carol's last name?
Caroline Cravant.
Caroline Cravant is going to do a talk for us in October 27th, I believe. We have it scheduled for. We typically do the talks off season, so we're aiming for those. Next slide. We run sales. We donate some of the money to our Hop High Fund. We have a scholarship fund. I don't know, his name really wasn't Hop High.
Dougie Zarella, right?
Yes.
No, not Dougie, it was it?
Donald Zarilla. We've actually, Donald was a member and he was tragically killed many years ago. We established a scholarship with the high school that we've been supporting for 25 years. And actually, when we started, it was $250 a person, and we just raised it to $500 because we didn't think $250 didn't go as far as it did 25 years ago. This year, we had 3 recipients of the award. Next, we run an art show where some of the funds goes to the Art Council, probably most of it goes to the Arts Council. Next slide. We do Earth Day. We open the club for tours. We're also in the process of reaching out to the hospital Phelps and the New York blood drive. We're talking about doing a blood drive in the spring so that we have some additional other community events. Next slide. We do commissioning day every year where the veterans come down. We have a ceremony where we lay a wreath in the water for it's basically the equivalent of the unknown soldier for sailors. We've been doing that probably forever. We have the Hop Eye Cookout, which we do every year, and we donate that to the high school. Next. We have Family Fishing Day where we open up the club to the public and we try sort of a combination membership drive, getting people familiar with the river. It's a very popular event. Next slide. We do the holiday toilet drive. It's one of our bigger things. We participate with one of the local churches and we put bins around the town and We collect toys and donate them. So this is the locations that we typically put the toy drive boxes in. It's been very successful for many years. So we've got a lot of participation. These are the events we had this year. We did a talk with the Riverkeeper. We had the Austin Art Council. We had Earth Day. We had the Riverkeeper. We did Commissioning Day. We participated in the Memorial Day Parade. We also, the Austin Fire Department uses us for safety drills. We also host them for their reviews, I believe.
Inspection, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
We cut that.
Okay, we do the Coast Guard safety course, which we're going to have another one if there's interest. We did Family Fun Day. We had a clam bake, which is open to the public. We're having River Keeper again. They said the Hudson River Museum is going to do a speech. And then we also are a member of the Hudson River Boat and Yacht Club Association. And they rotate meetings. We typically sponsor the meeting in November, and they have Thanksgiving. So that's pretty much what's the next one. So we also, as I said, we do a SWIP program. We have a butterfly garden in the circle. We have some environmentally friendly windmills, which we try and make the power for the lighting that we use on the docks and the back of the building. We do composting, and as we discussed earlier, we do the Hop High Scholarship annually. Next one. And that's us. So, as I said, we've been around for over 108 years now, I believe.
Good job.
Everything you see is sort of maintained by, there's a core bunch of guys there. I've been there since 1987. And then I had kids, and my wife had better ideas of what I should do with my time. As my kids got older, they were interested, we'd go down. And my oldest son was a member until he moved to Washington. He's Delaware. He's a police officer in Delaware. So, but you know, it's a very family-oriented place. Happy to be part of the town.
What is the number of members right now?
105.
Is there a cap? Like, is there only a certain amount that you can take that you would have to put people on the waiting list? A certain
No,
number? No.
quite a bit. So we have three types of members. There's, as I said, working members, associate members, and then there's a third level, which is you've been there for over 20 years. You become a life member and you sort of stop paying us.
They're in their due.
You don't pay us. So we have approximately 60 associate members, 30 working members, and I believe it's 17 or 18 life members. Get the dirty looks.
No. Great.
Questions, comments, suggestions?
Thank you.
Thank you, actually. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from the audience?
And if you'd like to come down, we're happy to give you a tour anytime you'd like. We typically invite the board to the clam bake, but to be honest, I forgot. This is my first year as comical.
I forgot that too. That's on me.
I'm not a big Facebook guy, but
No.
Yeah, it's on me.
we were there Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday we do the prep, and it was like, it was one of the nicest times I've had down there in a long time. It's just a great bunch of people helping out, teasing each other for most of the time. I was the recipient. That's part of the job of the commissary.
Good.
But thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How long is the Commodore term?
some of my colleagues. I was supposed to be Commodore last year, but I was traveling a lot for work. 2
It's a
years.
year of the election,
Okay.
but we never live in that.
Been Commodore for life, I'm told.
And I would like to say my dues are 420. Or the regular dues are 5 something, so I don't feel like life
Regular-
members get
actually,
that much of a
I
discount.
actually looked that up. The regular dues are 509, because I figured that would be a question. The associate dues are 54.
So
I could be mistaken. I am married. My wife said, don't make any bad jokes. but I am who I am. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn to the session.
That means we have to leave.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. For advice of counsel, contracts, personnel and litigation? Nope, personnel. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
We do a motion first?
All right.
Okay,
Bye.
Thank you.